This is the Moto G72, a feature-loaded 4G phone when 5G is right around the corner. But I don't think that's too much of a problem for many folks, and let me explain why in 3 quick reasons. Firstly, all brands operating in this price segment are still making 4G phones. For example, Redmi has the Redmi Note 11 and Realme has the Realme 9. But why is that the case? Because 5G penetration is still going to take a lot of time. Now, the Indian government, of course, wants all India coverage in the next 2 years, but 4G is still going to be around. For context, South Korea was the first country to deploy large-scale 5G networks back in 2019. And 3 years later, the country has 24 million subscribers on 5G and 47 million subscribers on 4G. That's almost double the number. You know what I'm trying to say, right? Basically, 5G adoption is going to take a lot of time, even in India, and my very positive estimate would be by 2026, 2027. And it's not like Motorola doesn't have 5G phones in its portfolio. It does. In fact, it has a lot of phones now this year. But if you want a feature-loaded 4G phone, the G72 is the option for you. So, if you don't know me yet, I'm Ashad. You're watching Trakin Tech English. Let's talk a little bit more about this very interesting phone, and this always keeps happening. First things first, let's talk about the design of the phone. I really like the shade of blue that Motorola has used. Of course, it's an all PMMA construction, but what stands out about the G72 is the fact that it's a very slim phone at 7.9 millimeters, and it is extremely light too for a big phone. In fact, it's lighter than the Moto G52. I quite like the in-hand feel of the phone thanks to the curved back, and this camera module design that you've got here, it's very reminiscent of what Motorola introduced with the H30 series. Does look good. But that's not it. Motorola is leaving no stone unturned. Yes, you've got a headphone jack and you've got a hybrid SIM slot which supports micro SD cards as well. And apart from that, you've got a stereo speaker setup where the earpiece works as the second speaker itself. You know what? Let's quickly take a listen to the sound quality. Of course, it supports Dolby Atmos as well. So let's hear it out. Of course, there's a left-right channel imbalance in the sound, with the left one sounding louder than the right one, but it's not as bad as the Moto H30 Fusion, so that's a good job out there, Motorola. Now, I did listen to my IEMs on the headphone jack with the Motorola G72, and it does sound very good as well. Now, this display in this price segment is also one of the best ones out there. This is a massive 6.6-inch POLED panel, and it's got support for HDR10+, 10-bit color, 120 Hz of refresh rate, and 576 Hz of touch sampling rate as well. The touchscreen response is fantastic, and it of course helps when you're gaming as well. The other thing that stands out is the fact that the bezels are extremely tiny too. So when you're watching content on this phone, it just stands out. But there's one fundamental problem that I noticed with the G72 is that you do not get HDR playback on YouTube or Netflix. By the way, I got confirmation from Motorola after I had actually shot the video that the G72 will be whitelisted for HDR playback on YouTube and Netflix very soon. So when the retail units go out, you should see HDR playback. If you don't, let me know in the comment section below. Also, in this price range, we've rarely seen in-display fingerprint scanners on OLED panels, and the Moto G72 actually has one. And you know what? It is very fast to unlock as well, but it's placed slightly too low for my taste. But again, it's very fast to unlock. Now, for the haptic feedback, Motorola doesn't use any specific X-axis vibration motor. So when you're typing on it, the entire phone sort of vibrates. I think that Redmi phones do it better in this price range. Now let's talk about the camera setup on the phone. You've got a 108 megapixel primary camera, which is the Samsung HM6 sensor, which is actually a very good sensor. And apart from that, you've got an 8 megapixel ultra wide, which doubles up as a depth sensor, and it doesn't have autofocus, so it doesn't do macro. So Motorola has added an extra 2 megapixel macro camera. And you guys know what I feel about 2MP macro cameras. Not a really big fan of them. And on the front, you get a 16 megapixel selfie camera, and the kind of selfies that it takes looks pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I like the way the pictures come out, but of course against the light the HDR performance is not that great, but I still like the kind of pictures that it managed to capture. What I did notice about the camera is that Motorola is actually improving the HDR performance by leaps and bounds. I really like this HDR picture that I got out here, where it was blown out in the camera itself, and in processing Motorola did a fab job of fixing it. If you like the kind of content that we make, don't forget to hit the red subscribe button and the bell icon right next to it to get notified whenever we put out an awesome new tech video. Now, these are of course very early first impressions, and what I see with the primary camera is that the color science seems to be very good, especially with skin tones, and the ultra wide takes decent shots too, but in this price range you cannot expect great color science consistency, which is generally the case. And you can take a look at the 2 megapixel macro samples for yourself to see how they perform. As for video recording, you get 1080p 30 fps video recording from the front camera, so that's decent, and you also get 1080p 60 fps with stabilization from the rear camera, which looks pretty decent too. Like I mentioned, these are very early first impressions, so if you guys want a detailed camera review or a camera comparison, comment below. Now coming to the performance, this one's got a MediaTek Helio G99 chip, and it's got 6GB of LPDDR4X RAM and 128GB of UMCP storage, which is faster than UFS 2.1 storage as well. So the read-write speeds for storage are pretty decent actually, and you get an Antutu score of about 3,70,000, which is slightly lower than what you get with Snapdragon 695. Now overall performance wise, it's not a performance monster per se, but for the price that it's at, it works pretty well, and especially tuned with the slick Motorola software, it works really well in daily life, especially you're using regular apps like Twitter and Instagram. Now these kind of mid-range chips don't throttle too much or don't get too hot too much either, because of course they don't draw too much power as well. Now if you're talking about gaming, I tried Call of Duty Mobile on the phone, and it can run at medium graphics and high frame rates, and it runs fairly smooth. You've also got Motorola's game time feature, which lets you switch the performance mode for better performance on whenever you're gaming. Now, despite the fact that the phone is slim, it's got a massive 5000 mAh battery inside, and it supports 33-watt fast charging as well. Now, 5000 mAh battery with these kind of specs, I'm expecting it to be a battery monster. Now coming to the real reason why I love the Moto G72 is the software itself. It's got Android 12. Motorola says very clearly that you'll get update up to Android 13 and 3 years of security updates. At least we've got clarity on it, so that's definitely a good thing. And as it always goes, you've got Moto actions. It's very fast, very fluid, especially with that 120Hz refresh rate. I did notice a few bugs here and there. For example, when you open the portrait mode, it sort of is jerky, but I think Motorola can fix that with the software update. But otherwise, very fast and very responsive as usual. And let's not forget, Motorola's ThinkShield security is also available on the Moto G72. Now, if you're considering buying the Moto G72, what you need to figure out for yourself is, can you live without 5G for the next couple of years? Are you living in an area where you know for a fact that 5G is not going to come soon? Now, if that is the case, then this is a very feature-loaded 4G phone. And if you want a detailed comparison or a review with any other phone, do let me know in the comment section below. But about the G72, I like the way it looks, I like the way it feels in the hand, and the camera performance in particular seems to be really good. So yeah, I really do want to test that out. What do you guys think of the G72? Let me know in the comment section below. Until next time, this is Ashad signing off. Keep tracking and stay safe.